So over the years I have spoken about toxic shame and the effect that this can have, and I wanted to go deeper into this subject today and to focus on what can be the cause of toxic shame, and to look at what kind of symptoms can arise as a result of this. So one way that someone can experience toxic shame and believe that they are worthless is through having through the bond between them and their caregivers as a child not developing. So this interpersonal bridge between them and their caregivers cannot develop, and this can be because of neglect, or it can be because of some kind of abuse. So when this bond doesn't develop, someone then can't see that they're simply part of the human race and they are another human being, they're no better or worse, and that they are accepted, they belong, they deserve to be here. They can end up feeling ostracized and they will basically be cast aside. So this bond doesn't develop, and so they can feel as though there is something inherently wrong with them. So through not developing this bond, they can then grow up, and once they get to the stage where they're an adult, this can basically, what they experience as a child will be the truth. Because when they were younger, when this bridge, this bond wasn't able to develop, they would have been egocentric. So it wasn't that there was something wrong with their caregivers or something was going on for them. It would have been that there was something wrong with them. So they would have taken it personally, and now that they're an adult, they can find it hard to, or it can basically be impossible for them to really connect to someone else and to other people, to experience intimacy. So their true self will be covered up, and they will end up playing a role. And of course, if they're playing a role, they can't really connect to someone else. So because they feel as though there is something inherently wrong with them, they will have to cover up who they are to try and be accepted and not to be cast aside. And of course they might not be aware of this consciously, but deep down this is what will be running. So they can hide themselves, feel as though they don't belong, and of course have a big fear of being abandoned, because they were most likely abandoned. So because they feel as though they are worthless, it's going to be normal then for them to believe that if they do reveal who they are, they'll be abandoned. And this is because who they really are is not going to be seen as being valuable, of course. So in order for them to be accepted, they will have to play a role, and this is going to be very lonely because they're not showing who they are, and it can be hard for them to fulfill their needs and feelings, because again, if they reveal them, they can believe that they will be rejected and abandoned. So through having this toxic shame, and this is something that someone can, if they get in touch with it, they can really experience in their face. Their face can end up getting really hot, and they can have the need to hide themselves. So of course someone can hide who they are when they are around others, and they can of course hide themselves from other people as well. So this is something, it's not just a feeling, because it can permeate someone's whole being. It can be who they are, not just a part of them that is holding them back. It can be seen as who they are. And when it comes down to the beliefs that they carry, the irrational belief that they are worthless and they don't deserve anything, which is not the case, this is something that will need to be questioned. But when it comes down to feeling good about themselves, just using affirmations or positive thinking is not necessarily going to deal with the shame. This is something that will need to be brought to the light. It will need to be revealed. It will need to be shared with a trusted other or trusted others, so they can start to gradually dissipate. And this is because as shame is part of what allows someone to function in society, part of having a conscience, it makes sense that in order for them to resolve it, the toxic shame, they will need to open up to someone else. And through opening up, this shame can gradually start to decrease, the toxic shame. And as this takes place, instead of it being who they are, they can see it's just part of who they are, because it will get smaller, and they can gradually start to feel good about themselves and to realize there's nothing inherently wrong with them. It's just an illusion, and this can then allow them to gradually reveal who they are and to live a fulfilling life. But to do this, they will most likely need to reach out for external support from a therapist or a healer or even a support group, so they can move forward. But the main thing is that they take the first step and don't continue to suffer in silence.